Sean Diddy Combs is facing more scrutiny. Federal prosecutors have accused Combs of witness tampering from behind bars.
And it's a pretty lengthy stare. And then he starts nodding while mouthing the words dramatically, "I know you."
Stephanie Soo built a career on storytelling. The kind that's shocking. The kind that blends crime, emotion, and just the right amount of tension to keep you on the edge of your seat. But lately, the story she's been telling might be putting her in danger. Real danger. Because this time, she's not narrating a story from afar. She's living in it. From mukbang queen to true crime podcaster, Stephanie's transformation over the years has been incredible. But even her loyal Rotten Mango listeners weren't prepared when she decided to show up in person to the explosive Diddy court case. No YouTube editing, no podcast filters, just her team, and a courtroom filled with silence, power, and intimidation. And now, the deeper she goes, the more people are asking, is Stephanie Soo being watched? Let's start from the beginning. Stephanie and her Rotten Mango crew decided they weren't just going to report on the Diddy trial. They were going to be there, sitting in the press section, notebooks in hand, observing everything with their own eyes. Cameras aren't allowed. There's no filming, no phones, no microphones. It's pen and paper, the old-fashioned way, which makes everything feel even more intense, because when you're in that room, there's no buffer. You feel the stares, you sense the silence, you see things no live stream could ever catch. Stephanie was committed to getting the truth. But what she didn't expect was that the truth might be staring right back at her. In one of her recaps, Stephanie dropped a moment that left viewers stunned. It happened before the court officially started, before the jury even entered the room. Diddy, seated and calm, suddenly turned in her direction. No one said a word. He just stared and mouthed something. "I know you." Twice. Stephanie says he held the gaze for several seconds, not just a glance. A look, a smirk followed, a nod. Then he turned away like nothing happened. Except, her whole team saw it too. Each of them wrote it down separately without even discussing it first. And it wasn't just them. A seasoned courtroom reporter nearby whispered, "You're putting that in your video, right?" It wasn't paranoia. People who've done this for years knew it was weird, knew it meant something. And Stephanie, she wasn't sure whether to brush it off or freak out. One time could be a coincidence, but twice, just a week later, it happened again. Another day in court, another glance, another mouthful of the exact same words. "I know you." But this time, it was different. More personal, more calculated. Diddy was having a quiet moment with his mother during a courtroom break, whispering, smiling, seemingly soft. But when he turned back toward the bench, his eyes locked with Stephanie's again. She describes it as one of those awkward moments where you instinctively look away, like you've been caught staring. But this didn't feel mutual. He rubbed his chin with his hand, then, with a slight index gesture, not a full point, but a movement that meant something, he mouthed it again. "I know you." And just like before, her team saw it, wrote it down, shared the same reaction. This wasn't random. This wasn't a fluke. This was a message. Stephanie's audience isn't made up of casual lurkers. Her followers are loyal, protective, and smart. And when they saw the video recaps, the comments section exploded. People were begging her to stop going, to get a security detail, to stop being polite and start being safe. Messages poured in. "He's trying to scare you. You're too close to the truth. This isn't a joke anymore." Some fans went as far as to say they feared Stephanie might become the next cautionary tale in true crime history. That's how real it's gotten. Because this isn't just content anymore. This is proximity to power. And power doesn't always play fair. But it didn't stop in the courtroom. In the days following those eerie encounters, Stephanie started noticing something strange and increasingly disturbing. Random people began approaching her. Not fans, not creators, just people. Saying things like, "I love your podcast," followed immediately by one question: "Where are you staying?" Over the course of 2 weeks, it happened nearly 10 times. Every conversation followed the same creepy script. Compliments, then invasive questions. What hotel? What area? Do you Uber or walk? Is your team with you? Do you go home on weekends? Are you flying back after the trial? It was non-stop. And And it wasn't friendly curiosity, it felt like surveillance. Stephanie described having to give vague, non-committal answers and still being met with more questions. These weren't conversations, they were interrogations. And then it got physical. One day, Stephanie was leaving the courthouse when a stranger approached her, claimed to love the show, smiled, moved in for a hug. Stephanie, ever polite, went along with it. But something felt off. Her researcher noticed it immediately and yanked her away. Later, they told her why. That person's hand had gone elbow deep into Stephanie's tote bag during the hug. That wasn't affection. That was an attempt to steal something. Or worse, plant something. Fans immediately panicked. Check for trackers. Never carry open bags. Watch your drinks, your clothes, your phone. At this point, people weren't just worried. They were furious. Furious that someone could get that close. Furious that Stephanie was still exposed. One particularly bizarre incident made things feel even darker. Stephanie says someone approached her and started asking about her influence. Not about true crime, not about her show, but about control. Can you make your audience do anything? What if you told them to act, and would they listen? Stephanie, trying to keep things light, joked that her fans don't even agree with her half the time. They'd probably do their own thing. But the man kept pressing, repeating the question, pushing. It wasn't curiosity, it was something else. Why would someone, a stranger, want to know how much influence she had over her listeners? What were they really trying to figure out? In a courtroom recap, Stephanie casually joked that Diddy looked like a koala. Fuzzy, grayish, serious. It was funny, lighthearted, forgettable, until it wasn't. Days later, during a sketch session in court, Diddy reportedly turned to the artist and asked them to soften me up. You're making me look like a koala bear. Word for word. Fans were stunned. Suddenly, Stephanie's throwaway comment wasn't so throwaway anymore. He'd heard it, he remembered it, and he cared. The same man who had mouthed, "I know you" to her, was now referencing a comment from her podcast in open court. Coincidence? Not likely. The courtroom sketch request, the repeated, "I know you" line, the oddly specific fan encounters, the hug, the probing questions. Each of these things on their own might seem explainable, but together, they paint a much darker picture. It's not just Diddy looking in her direction, it's his team, his kids, his people. Stephanie says they're constantly hovering near the courtroom sketch artists, trying to get a look at how he's being portrayed. He cares about his image, desperately. And Stephanie, she's giving people a version of the truth that doesn't come with PR edits. And in a case this sensitive, that might be dangerous. Stephanie has always been graceful, calm, professional. But now, fans are begging her to change course. No more politeness, no more smiles, no more openness. Close your bags. Don't tell anyone where you're staying. Check your tech for bugs. Get private security. Wear hats at hotel check-ins. Use burner phones. They're not being dramatic. They're being prepared. Because this trial isn't just about one man's downfall. It's about decades of power, influence, and control. And Stephanie? She's documenting all of it in real time. Stephanie Soo isn't just telling a story anymore. She's become part of one. Whether it's intimidation, coincidence, or something more sinister, the pattern is undeniable. She's being watched. And not just by Diddy, but by people who may want her to stop talking altogether. But if there's one thing we know about Stephanie, it's that she doesn't scare easy. She's still showing up, still documenting, still speaking. But as the trial unfolds, and as her coverage gets more attention, one question keeps echoing through the comment section. How long can she keep this up before something actually happens? And more importantly, if it does, will someone be held accountable? Because if this is what it looks like when someone tells the truth,